Hi friends, Jecca here, and I am out at Ebenezer Swamp Ecological Nature Preserve. So this is a nature preserve that is maintained by the University of Montevallo, and it is open to the public during daylight hours. You can come here with your family, and if you book a field trip with us in the future, when that's possible again, then we can take your class out here and explore the swamp. It is so cool, and I'm very excited that I get to share it with you today. Alright, so we are going to head into the main entrance. There's a nice wooded and shaded trail. So as we hike through the swamp, I want to point out some cool features like this beautiful work of art behind me. And we're going to be talking about animal adaptations this week. So an adaptation is defined as a trait that an animal has developed over time to help them survive in a specific habitat. So here at Ebenezer Swamp, we are in a swamp habitat, and the animals and plants here will have certain adaptations to help them survive. So as we hike, I want to point some of those cool traits out to you guys. Before we point those out, I also wanted just to say that this is a nature preserve, meaning that we want to try to maintain the original habitat here, like before humans ever came here. However, it is open to humans. There's a beautiful boardwalk, so when you do come out here, please be respectful and stay on the boardwalk and make as many observations as you can to the beautiful world around you. So, a little bit about our egret friend. It's very tall, as you can see, and students made the statues out here out of recycled metals that are not treated and will rust over time since they are exposed to the elements out here. And I think that is extremely cool. This isn't the only sculpture that's out here. There are two others, so if you guys come out here, please look out for those. They're very cool. And we also have an outdoor classroom, which I'll show you guys next. So here is our outdoor classroom. As you can see, there are benches where we sit, we can talk, we can do activities. And it is also decorated by students. They made the beautiful murals behind me. I hope you guys enjoy the beautiful artwork you can see out here, as you're also enjoying the beautiful nature that can only be found here. Alright, so this is the beginning part of the boardwalk, and as you can see, you will find these signs along the boardwalk. These are interpretive signs that have information regarding wetlands, watersheds, the swamp, different animals that can be found here, and things like that. So they're very cool to check out. It kind of gives you like a self-guided tour. So if you do get to come out here with just your family and you're like, wait, but what are we looking at? These signs will probably help explain the science behind what you're seeing and also some cool things to look out for. Alright, so here we are at a different part of the boardwalk, and you can already see just a few steps in how drastically the environment around me has changed. A swamp is a forested wetland with a permanent saturation of water, meaning year-round there is always water on the ground and you don't really see solid ground like at the beginning part of the swamp. Also, it has to have trees as the primary dominant species of plants. So as you can see, the trees behind me are water tupelos. That is the most common tree here at Ebenezer Swamp. And you can see the water on the ground that they grow out of. So the yellow flowers behind me, those are actually an endangered species of flowers. They're called eared coneflowers, and they're not terribly common. They require a very specific environment to grow in, and that is here at the swamp. So we are very glad to have this area protected. and that way species like the eared coneflower can thrive. So, when we're talking about adaptations, they are traits, like I said, that help animals survive in certain habitats. So, when we're thinking about here in the swamp, any animal or plant that is going to survive here is going to have to be okay with living in or near the water because there's water here year round, right? So, like these water tupelo trees behind me, you can see towards the very bottom of the base of the tree they get wider. Well, that's because they have extremely wide roots that help brace it in the soft substrate or the soft sandy soil that it grows in, and also helps it gather oxygen from farther away from the tree. So that's an adaptation that these trees have developed. Now what you might be able to see behind me, I'm not quite sure if you can make it out, but there's actually a pile of sticks going across the water here. So those sticks were actually expertly weaved and put together by a beaver. Beavers live in the swamp and they have many adaptations that help them live a life on and near the water. Some adaptations for those beavers are that they develop a certain oil on their coat to help keep them warm and dry. It actually repels water, kind of like a raincoat. Another is the shape of their tail. Their tail kind of acts like a paddle, and it's very flat shaped to help them push water as they swim through the swamp. Oh wait, guys, look at this. Let's check this out. There is these cool white spots to help confuse predators that would eat the dragonfly, like frogs and birds. Those white spots are eye spots to trick them as to like, oh, these are actually two giant eyes you're looking at, not a tasty dragonfly. Some other cool things about dragonflies is their eyes. Okay, they have those really big eyes that a lot of insects have. And if I were able to zoom in close, you would see that they have a lot of different surfaces. Their eyes are really good at seeing fast-moving things. So dragonflies love to eat mosquitoes, which are very small and can fly very fast. So their eyes are actually well in tune to catch their type of prey. Would they be able to see me clear as day, as this big wall of a human being? Not so much. However, fast-moving objects and smaller prey, they can actually detect with extreme accuracy, and they are great hunters. So we've talked about insects that like to live near the water, plants that specifically need this environment and habitat, trees that have special adaptations to survive in the water, and even mammals like the beavers. There are other mammals that live here in the swamp. I have seen evidence of, or like tracks of bobcat. I've seen rabbits. I have also seen reptiles. So there are some cool reptiles that live here in the swamp, and let's hike a little bit farther down the boardwalk and I'll point those guys out to you. So now let's talk about some cool adaptations that reptiles have. Some reptiles that might be found here in the swamp include turtles, snakes, and lizards. So some reptiles prefer to live the majority of their life in water, or they might be called aquatic, and others are terrestrial, or they prefer to live their lives on land. All reptiles breathe through lungs like humans do. So they do have to breathe air by coming up to the surface. So the aquatic turtles that live here in the swamp can hold their breath up to 30 minutes. Then they still have to come to the surface and breathe before they dive back down again. So there are also snakes here that prefer to live near water and catch prey like fish, and so they will swim. But there are also snakes that are more arboreal, or they prefer to live in trees, and they'll make their homes up in trees. So there are different types of snakes and turtles here, and they're really cool if you get to spot one. Something that all reptiles rely on because they are so very shy is camouflage. Reptiles are shy, and you might see one if you come out to the swamp because this is their habitat. However, when they hear you walking up, they're going to sense those vibrations and try and hide by going into hiding or just by laying very still and relying on their camouflage. That is a trait that they have that helps them survive. That concludes our tour of the swamp today and our talk about the different animal adaptations that are found in trees, plants, insects, mammals, reptiles here at the swamp. There are many more, and if we get species specific, we can really go into detail, and it is amazing. So there's a lot to see out here. There's a lot to learn about out here. I really hope you guys get to come out here one day, whether it's with your family or with a program with us. And I hope you guys have a wonderful summer and a great start to the new school year.